Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Iftipondo, and this video is gonna be about setting up a web server using Ansible. So I've already created a previous video where I show you how to setting a working environment to practice with Ansible and with 5 nodes. And this video I'll show you how you can configure web server on 2 of them and all the process so you can have working web server. So I will go on my console and show you how you can do that. I'll go ahead and open the terminal so I can connect to my Ansible control node. So I'll do SSH -L Ansible and 172. So 172.25.250.254. And I'll enter the password. So I'm connected on another one. Must be. I'll just check the IP address. 253. So I'm connected on my node, and I'll just increase the size of my font policy so you can see my screen very well. Okay. So I'll start by creating a folder. So I'll do ls, so mkdir web server. So first thing which I will start with is to create the Ansible configuration file. In my previous video, I'll show you how you can create the Ansible configuration file with all the parameters needed. But in this video, I'll create a simple file with just few lines to set everything which I need. So I'll do vim ansible.cfg. And in this one, I'll start with default part and another part which is privilege escalation. So here I will start with the inventory file, which will be equal to inventory, and I will set the remote user which I will use to connect, on the remote server, which will be Ansible. So I'll use remote user equal Ansible, and the first parameter for the default part is host key checking. So this one will allow me to check every time I want to connect to my remote server to check if the key have changed. If it had changed, I won't be able to connect. But if it is not changed, I will connect. But at this time, I'll set true, as I've known that the HTTP, the SSH key have not changed. And here I'll do become to become, so I can move from the simple user to the root user with become equal true. And become, I'll use become user will be equal to root. And the method which I'll use, it will be sudo. So become method equal sudo. And I will also set become ask pass equal to 4. So I don't want to use password as I've already set up the login with SSH key. So this will be all for my Ansible CFG file. And the second file will be the inventory file. So I'll go and create that vim inventory. And here I'll just do node 125 and local.dev. If I do ls-l, so I must move all those files in my web server directory. If I do ls again, I've created my inventory file and the Ansible configuration file. So now I'll try to check the connectivity from my control node to my managed node. So I will do Ansible dash not all just to target all my inventory hosts. and the module which I use will be ping. So as you can see, I'm able to reach all my 5 nodes. So now I can go and start with the configuration file of part of my web server. So I'll just do vim Ansible, not Ansible, so just do inventory. So I'll create a group which will target my web server which I want to configure. So I'll just use 2 server as web server. So I'll just press enter and enter web server. And here I'll just add the node 3 and node 4. So I'll just add node 2 and node 3. Node 2, 2, 3, local.dev, and save and enter. I'll just try to do Ansible web server. So here I'm targeting just the group web server, and I'll use again the module ping to check if everything is going well. So okay, I'm now only targeting the 2 server like I said. So I'll go now and create my playbook to set up web server for the 2 nodes. So I'll do vim configure web server servers.yml. So every playbook must start with 3 dash, and after that I will just add the name, which will be name. For here I name my playbook as configure web server on managed node. So I'll do configure web server on managed nodes, and the target will be set as a host, and here I will do web server. So let's just, and I want just to check the group if it's web server without s at the end. That's okay. And here the task will be equal to a list of tasks which I'll start using. So I'll start, and the first task which I will do is to set up the repository on all my managed nodes. So I'll just go quickly and log in on my, so I'll just exit here and check if I have set up repository on my managed node. If I haven't, I will show you how we can set that using the YML configuration. So I'll do Ansible dash Ansible web server. I'm targeting again the web server group, and the module will be commands. So this is the div by default. I can put it or I can just remove it. So I'll do here I'll pass argument, and here I'll do ls-l etc yum.repo.t. I just want to check the content of this folder to know if I've already set up my repository. If I haven't, I'll go and set. So I've already set the 2 of them, so upstream and repo, and base OS repo. I think I did this in my previous video, so you can check the video. I will put the link in bio so you can check that. So as I've already have my repo settings set up, so I'll go and configure now my web server. So the first thing will be to install the package which contain the web server, and as I'm on Red Hat, the web server, it will be Apache. So I'll do name, and the package is HTTPD. So I'll do install package for web server, and the module which I'll use will be yum : and it have some attribute, and the first one will be the name of the package which I want to install. And in my case, it will be, I'll store it in a variable name package, and I'll go here and set the var, so var, and here I'll do package, and the value will be HTTPD. Okay, do at the same way the service, or set the service name, which is also HTTPD. And here I will, to install it, I will specify the state. So here I can use installed, or I can use latest to ensure I'm taking the latest version which are available on my repository. So just use press enter. And if I do cat configure web server, so I have everything set up, and I'll go and launch this playbook. So I'll do Ansible play. First thing is to check the syntax of my playbook. So I'll do syntax check and configure web server. So if everything is going is good, it will just display playbook, the name of the playbook, and nothing special. And so I'll go and execute that Ansible play configure web server. So this one will go and install the package, and it won't start the service. So I'll just wait for it to complete. So as you can see, it succeeded on the first node, which is node 2, and now it's installing on the second one, so the node 3, where it's installed as well. So I'll do DNF, not DNF, so I'll do Ansible web server to check if the package was installed successfully. So I'll do install, and I'll do A with RPM -QI, and here to be HTTPD. So as you can see, I'm getting the result. That means the package is already installed. If it wasn't installed, I would not have this result. So I'll just check with another package so you can see the difference. Nginx. So Nginx is not installed on the first node, but is already installed on the second one. So I'll just do that, and I'll go and check the service of that to know if it already started or not. So I'll do Ansible systemctl status HTTPD. As you can see on my screen, the package is already installed, but the service is not running. So I'll go on my playbook and create a task which we start the service. So I'll do vim configure web server, and I'll go here and add another task which we name start package start service, which will be replaced by the name of service which is already set here, which is HTTPD. And here the package the module which I use will be service colon, the name will be double quotes service. So here I'm using double quote because I start with the name of a variable. If it was in the middle, I can put it directly. But here, as it's at the start of the line of the attribute, it must be surrounded by double quote. So, and the state will be started, and I'll do at the same time and enable the service, so it starts starting at the boot of my server. So I'll do enable equal yes. So all these attributes, you can check it in the Ansible documentation with Ansible doc service. And here I can search for, so as you can see here, enabled, it take a boolean which can be true or false. And the name is the name of the service. And I'll search out for state, so you can see state. So here at the end, so state you can take started, stopped. So all the value are here. So reloaded, restart, started, stopped. So in my case, I want to start the service. That's why I put it started, and I'll press W key, exit. I'll go now and execute my playbook. So I'll do Ansible play configure web server, and it's gathering fact, and it's gathered fact from node 2 and node 3, and it installed the package which is already done. So it's show okay of that task. And for the second part, second play, show that change. That means the service started. So if I do again Ansible web server, and argument will be systemctl status httpd. So as you can see, US service is active, and here also is active. And now if I do curl node3.local.dev, I should get the output, but now I'm getting no route to this one. But if I open my, so just quickly, so just do Ansible on web server and do curl localhost. So you can see the difference. So from the host itself, it seems that it can reach the web server, but from remote host, I'm not able to reach my web server. So that means I also have to check the firewall. So I'll do firewall cmd-list all. So this is to list all ports which have been enabled, and as well as service. So here on service, there is not HTTP. So that's why I'm not able to reach my web server from my control node. So just go and edit my configuration playbook. So here I'll do name enable HTTP service over firewall. So here I'll do the module will be firewall D, and attribute I'll start with service. So here I will specify the name of the service, which is the same as which I've already defined here, which is not that is it will be HTTP is not HTTPD. And for another attribute will be enabled, which will be equal to yes. And I will also add immediate for the firewall D to be reload automatically. Yes. And another one is permanent to make it persistent. So even after I reboot my server, the service will still be enabled. So permanent, yes. I'll just check the attributes for Ansible firewall D module with Ansible doc-s for firewall D. Here I'm using -s to check the list of argument or attribute for that. So here there is immediate and the permanent, as well as not enable is state, which should be equal to present absent. So I'll just change it and put present or enable. So it should be state here. So just go at the end state, the top state, and remove this one. Yes. Enable, press enter, and now I'll just exit and run again my playbook. So I'll do Ansible play. So I'll clean my terminal and configure web server. So here, as you can see, as all the other playbook have already been executed, I can only see here okay, and only the plays which perform some changes to my server or my inventory list will display change here. So here from the enable HTTP service over firewall, I can see change on node 2 and node 3. That means it changed the firewall service list on my managed node. So I'll go ahead and execute this command which I did previously, which was firewall list all. So if we check that, we can see here there is HTTP, and if I do again curl on node3.local.dev, so I'm getting the result. That means I'm able to reach my web server from my control node. So I'll do also on the node 2. It works as well. So that's how you set the firewall to enable your service to be accessible remotely. And now what I will do, I want to customize my web server configuration. So now if I do Ansible dash Ansible web server dash A, if I do grep, so just DocumentRoot on etc httpd conf httpd.conf. So this is the configuration file of Apache. So if I press enter, so you can see here the document root is set on var www.html, which is the default directory of the web server want you configure. But I want, in my case, I want to customize that so I can put all my HTML file in the directory web. So I'll go and do vim configure web server. So actually the web server web directory is not existing on my remote server. So I'll go and start create that firstly. So name enable notes is create web document root. So just do document root directory. So just like this. And to create a directory, I can use the file module. So you can just do Ansible doc file. So here you can search in the documentation. So I'll do example, so I can move directly to the example file. And here I will search for create directory, which will be somewhere. So here create directory if it does not exist. So here you specify the path, the state, and the mode of that directory. So I'll go and do file, so path. So here I'm start file, the path will be web, and the state will be directory, and that will be all. I don't want to put something special after that. And I want also to create the index directory, index file directory. So I'll do name create index.html file, and the content of that file will be just welcome to my web server. So I'll use the module copy so I can specify the content directly. So here to be content equal to, so here space, and it will be welcome to my home page. And to specify the place where I want to put that file, I must use dest for destination. Also, if you want to check that, we can use again the documentation, the Ansible doc command with copy, not file, copy. So here you can search for dest. So here remote absolute path where the file should be copied. So okay, and now I can go here, dest will be web, and the name will be index.html, and that will be all. So if I go again here and do, so I'll exit and execute my playbook again. So I'll do Ansible playbook configure web server. So as previously, all tasks which have already been executed will not affect our server. It won't have any impact, but now we can see created web directory, it worked on node 2 and node 3, and also it created the index file. So if I use Ansible web server A cat web index.html. So here it will show the content of that file. As you can see, it show welcome to my web page. But actually, as I haven't changed my document root of my configuration file, it won't display that actually. So I'll go and change the configuration. So I'll again edit my configuration file, and I'll go at the end. And here I've had another task which we name update document root in HTTP etc. So do HTTPD conf file. So to update the configuration file, I'll use another module. To update the configuration file, I will use another module, which will be line in file. So that module allows you to change some line in your file based on the regular expression which you use. So I'll go and do line in file. And here I'll start with the regex, which will target the, so I'll go here and do again. So I'll just call my command which I used previously with prep. So I want to target the line which start with document root. So I want to change this line. So the regex which I'll use it to be regex which start with document root and contain this line at the end. So I can just copy it, or I will edit it directly. So I'll go back again and edit my, so here it will be this sign to specify the target, and the dollar sign is to specify the end of my regular, the end of the line. So I'll do document. So here to be document root, and here there is double quote, and here to be var www-/html. So this will target that line, and to specify the value which I want to replace on that line, I'll use line. So this will specify the line. So I'll do document, this one, web. So that will be all. So I want to replace this line, the line with this, with document root, not document, it should be document root, followed by double quote web. And here I will specify another state which will be present. And I have also to specify one important thing, which is the path where that file located, the path which I want to update. So I'll do path. Here it will be etc httpd conf httpd.conf. And that will be all. So that will update my HTTP configuration file, and it will set my webs directory as the document root of my config file. So I'll just write and exit. And here I'll just go and execute again my playbook. So as you can see, previously there was a document root equal to this one. And now if I call this command, it should return with web just at this place. So create index, we have update document root, so it's update my document root. And now if I call my haddock command to check that, you can see the document root have been updated to the web. And now one thing with HTTPD is that the default directory I've already SLinux or context set it on it, but this one which I create, actually it doesn't have that. So if I go and do Ansible web server -a ls-ldz on http var www.html. So you can see on this one there will already be the context sets for HTTPD. But if I check on my web directory, actually it is not set yet. So I have to update that so it's still default. So for my web server to work, I have to update that. So I'll just do Ansible. So I'll clean my console and Ansible web server A, and I'll do systemctl restart. Here I'm just restarting it manually, so you can see that it will show an error as the HTTP service will not be able to update my source change 0. So if I try status, so it's still active, but if I try use curl index curl node3 local.dev, I'm still getting the default content of the index. So I'll go and edit my configuration file, configure web server. So here I'll go and update another line in my configuration, my HTTP config file. So HTTPD service. So here it will be this. So here it will be the name which starts with directory. So it is directory. And here the value. So I'll just exit and show you that line. So it will be, so I'll just call my command which use grep. Here it will be directory. So this line contains also the previous value, this one. So directory web. So I would want to change this one so it can point to, not that this one. So it can point to my web directory. So I'll go and do edit my config file. So here I will go and do directory. So I'll just do this and copy it. This one, copy, and I'll delete this one. And here I'll just go and do, I'll paste it, and here I'll delete this one. So it starts with directory and contain that, and I'll just go here and the line will be this one. So I'll do Shift V, and here it will be web directory. So here it will be like this directory, and that will be all. So okay, and now if I execute again my playbook, so I'll go here and execute it. Update room and update document root. So okay, it's works. So if I call again this command, you can see this part have been updated, which was web var web HTML. So now if I start to restart my server again, so I'll do just restart, and now I should get an error as HTTPD will not be. So if I go and check, so just do systemctl status load no. So actually it seems I have some error on my server. I don't know why, but actually it's supposed to not start the server as SE Linux is enabled, and it won't be able to read the content of the web directory. And I will just go and proceed with the configuration so we can see how it will be able to read HTML file from the web directory. So I'll just go here and add another one, which will be name update file context of web directory. And for this one to work, I must use the self context module, and here I'll do target is the directory or the file which I want to change the context. Here it will be web directory, and I want also to update any subdirectory which can be created after this moment. And here the SULinux type which I want to put. So here I'll show you how and can know the context of that directory. So I'll do Ansible web server -a and ls -ldz and var www.html. So I want to get the context of that directory. So here it is. It's httpd_sys_content_t. That is the context type which I must put on the web directory as well. But now if I check on the web directory, it will not be this one, it will be default target. So this one. So I'll go and edit my config playbook, and here I'll just go and put that one. So this one, and the state should be equal to present. So press enter. And now if I'll try to read the documentation of that doc and self context. So seem that module is not there, so I have to install that, and for that I must use Ansible Galaxy. I will try to check if I have internet access or do ping 8888. Okay, and I'll try to ping google.com to check if I'm able to resolve that. As I have my custom DNS server configured on this one, I'm just checking. That's okay. Now I'll try to use Ansible Galaxy. I'll just use -help. Okay, and I'll use collection. So on that collection, I'll just use collection install, and here it will be community.general. So this is so I'll just cancel it and fill my wait. I'll just call it again. I just want to cancel this so you can see it on a clean screen. So I'll wait just for it to install that. As you can see on my screen, the installation of the community general collection I've completed. So I'll try again with Ansible doc self context. So now I have the documentation of the self context. Now I'll go and check. Now I'll show you set type. So SULinux type for the specified target, and if I go here state, you can see state is present or absent, and the target is the target path. So okay, now I exit and go again vim configure my, so here now, so again everything is correct. So I'll try again to execute that. Configure web server. So I'll wait for it to complete. So it's gathering fact. You can start the package on web server. So that task is completed. The second one, the fourth one. So I'll just wait the last one which we had, which is update context of web directory. So I'll wait for it to complete. So okay, now if I do again Ansible web server, A on ls -ld web and var www.html. So as you can see, we have the same context on web and not yet, since doesn't apply yet. So I'll go and check again. State present HTTPD. Okay, so now it's not applied because like I said, the context actually is applied on the profile. So on the SLNX profile, so if I do Ansible and here and do say manage f context lc to list the local configuration or change which I've already made, we can see that the web is already there but is not applied yet. So for that to be applied, I must do launch the restore command. So I would add an handler. So I'll just add a task that is already run. So name restore directory context. And here I will just do shell. So it's a command. So cmd, and here to restore con verb v for verbose and r for recursive, and it will be on web directory. So I'll write and quit, and I'll execute that again. So I'll execute the playbook again. So update file context and restore directory context is done. And now if I do again this command, we can see now we will have the same context type on the two directories. So here is web, it's correct. And if I try to use curl node3 local.dev, so now you can see it's returned the content of the index file which I configured. I configured my playbook. So here you have all the configuration needed to set up a working web server with a custom directory. So as you can see, we have I can close this and use Ansible playbook, or just use tasks and on configure playbook. So you can see the first task is to install the web server package. The second one, I start the service. The third one, I enable the HTTP service over the firewall. Firewall as by default, there is no service enabled, only the SSH. And I create a web directory which will be serve as the root directory of my web server. And I create an index file. After that, I update the document root of the HTTPD config file. And I also update the context of the web directory, and at last point, I restore the context file of the web directory so it can match the context of the default document root of Apache server. So here comes the end of this video. So if you like this type of content and you find this was very helpful and interesting to you, you can subscribe to my channel and ring the bell notification to be notified whenever I post another video. So stay safe and see you in my next video.